What's up guys, Menny Lindenfeld here and I'm excited to bring you Tempus. With Tempus you will perform the cleanest and most believable watch-stopping demonstrations that looks and feels like real mind power, and you'll be surprised how easy it is to master. With the Tempus system, you can stop single and multiple borrowed watches. And once you stop a watch, you can freely handle the watch, you can let go of the watch, or you can let the spectator hold the watch. The watch will remain dead, and it will only come back to life and tick again at your command. You will learn how to stop a watch close up, frontal, on zoom, in the spectator's hands. Additionally, you will learn how to use the Tempus system for effects unrelated to watch stopping, including a routine where you mentally synchronize two unsynced watches. You will learn to stop your own watch while you wear it on the wrist and without coming near with the other hand. And to stop a clock as it hangs on the wall. Check this out. You can see both clocks on the wall, they both work. Now let me try something. And stop. You can see that this clock right here has stopped while this clock is still working. Let me make it work again and go. Additionally, you will learn never published before watch-stopping secrets. You will learn how to control a watch with a chronograph and stop the main dial and each of the sub-dials in the watch individually. You will also learn how to cause the stopwatch in a chronograph to self-start without pressing any buttons. Tempus comes with gimmicks and accessories, plus an in-depth masterclass where I teach the most advanced watch-stopping secrets, techniques and routines which I've refined and perfected for 2 decades. You will learn the Tempus system, 12 powerful routines with watches, and how to best sell the telekinesis effect to your audience and make them believe that you are superhuman. Welcome to Tempus Episode 2. We begin this episode by learning how to apply the hot zone cold zone method for stopping watches with open-ended straps. You will learn multiple techniques and routines. You will also learn an impromptu watch stopping method you can use when you don't have the magnets on you. We then continue with routines that secretly use the hot zone cold zone method for effects completely unrelated to watch stopping, including a routine where you mentally synchronize 2 unsynced watches. We conclude this episode with a talk about the psychology of watch stopping, the best way to practice, the best way to sell the effect to your audience, and other performance tips and ideas. With the magnet hidden in a finger palm, you will borrow a watch from a spectator and go into the watch stopping presentation. You will hold the watch at the strap ends, and as you can see, I have loaded the magnet while I was speaking. What I did is, as soon as I took the watch and misdirected you while talking, I secretly loaded the magnet on the back of the watch. You can load the magnet on the watch either on the far side of the watch case or the near side of the watch case. Either way, you will always load the magnet on the watch at the cold zone. I prefer to load the magnet at the far side of the watch simply because this way you don't cover the glass. As you can see, I've loaded the magnet right there. And if you do load the magnet at the near side, right there, as you can see, I have to cover the glass with the thumb. If I need the magnet at the near side, right here, all I have to do is load the magnet at the far side and then simply turn the watch around this way. And now the magnet is at the near side of the watch. With the magnet in your finger palm, use your right hand to point with the index finger and curl the rest of the fingers. This will keep your hand in a natural position as you point while hiding the magnet. You want to point and say, "Can I borrow your watch?" You will either point towards the spectator's watch or point on your left hand wrist as you talk. When the spectator hands you his watch, take it from him with your empty left hand. You want to grip it with your left thumb from above and the rest of the fingers from below the watch. Then push the watch up using the left thumb, and you will do this at the same time as you are shifting the watch from the left hand toward the right hand. You want to grip the watch from the top part with the right index finger under the watch, close to the top of the case near where the hinge of the strap is, and the thumb from above the watch. When you shift the watch towards your right hand, you want to make sure you open the right fingers only after they are hidden under the watch. So you have the magnet right here, and what you want to do is move the middle finger downwards. This way, while the index finger of the other hand goes upwards. So those two fingers are basically touching each other, and you will tuck the edge of the magnet at the beginning of the index finger and lift the middle finger from the magnet while the index finger holds the magnet in place, and then you will separate both hands going along the opposite straps. So this is how you load the magnet onto the watch. So again, in real speed, you have the magnet in finger palm. You will shift the watch towards the right hand and load the magnet and separate the hands going along opposite straps, and the magnet is now in a cold zone. This way, the magnet will not affect the watch itself, and the watch will continue working normally. Your hands are clean, nothing looks suspicious. You can now keep holding the watch, put it on the table, place it on the spectator's hand, or rest it on your open left palm, and no one will ever suspect anything. Or go directly into the watch stopping routine. When the magnet touches the back cover, it will make a clanging sound. Just speak at the same time to cover the noise, and no one will ever hear anything. As long as you are relaxed and act natural, like you have nothing to hide, even if they do hear something, they will never suspect anything. Make sure the magnet is positioned in cold zone at the back so that the watch still works normally until you actually decide to make it stop. It's good advice to look at the watch briefly after you have loaded the magnet and see if the watch has stopped or still running. If it did stop, move the magnet down a bit deeper into the cold zone while you talk to your audience. This is a small adjustment no one will ever notice. When you are done performing, what you need to do is unload the magnet from the watch so that you can later ditch it in your pocket or at one of the alternative magnet holders. You will unload the magnet from the watch either from cold zone or hot zone. To unload the magnet, you will use the middle finger either from the right hand or the left hand. And to unload the magnet from the cold zone, I always use the middle finger tip for this. So you have the magnet at the cold zone at the far side, and you will hold the watch at opposite straps. And to unload the magnet, all I have to do is turn the watch around, and as you can see, I've unloaded the magnets. You can also do the same thing with simply rotating the watch. So you have the magnet right here, and you will unload the magnet from the watch as you rotate the watch, and the magnet is right here. And the way I do this is as follows. I simply reach out with the middle finger tip and slide the magnet along the strap all the way up. So again, I will reach out with the middle finger and slide the magnet all the way up along the strap, and then press down on the magnet so that the magnet now sticks on the finger. So you have the magnet right there. You hold the watch at opposite straps. You will come with the middle finger, and as you slide it up, you also turn the watch around. So one more time in real speed. You will simply turn the watch around as you steal the magnet along the strap. And again, after the magnet is now at the top of the strap, you want to press down with your fingers to make sure the magnet sticks on the middle finger. You can also rotate the watch around while you steal the magnet instead of turning the watch around. So you will steal the magnet as you rotate the watch around. You can also steal the magnet with the magnet at the hot zone. The difference is when the magnet is at the cold zone, you will always steal it after you have done performing the 2 phases of the watch stopping routine. So phase 1, you stop the watch. Phase 2, you make the watch work again. You will unload the magnet from the cold zone and then hand the watch back to the spectator. With the magnet at the hot zone, you will steal the magnet after the first phase of the routine. So you have stopped the watch, show the dead watch around, and then you will steal the magnet as you enter the second phase of the routine. So you have the magnet at the hot zone, and what you'll do next, you'll show the dead watch around and then place the watch on top of the empty right hand with the crown of the watch facing the fingertips. And what you want to do is make sure that the magnet is on the crease between the top and center joints of the middle finger. So you place the watch on your empty right hand. You can say something like, look, the crown is not pulled out, but the watch does not work. You will place the watch on the table and hover your hand above the watch, and while I place the watch on the table, I stole the magnet right here. You can see that the magnet is at the crease right there on the middle finger. And I immediately hover my hand above the watch this way. And the spectator himself is going to turn the watch around and see that the watch now works normally. And what's great about this is that you have stolen the magnet already before the end of the routine. So now everything is as clean as possible, and the spectator can immediately take the watch back, examine the watch. So you have the magnet at the fingertips, and while the spectator is busy putting his watch back on his wrist, this is when you ditch the magnet. Instead of putting the watch on the table, you can actually place the watch at the spectator's open palm. So this is how it looks like. You have the watch, you place the watch on top of your open palm, and what you want to do is turn the watch around, and at the same time as you turn the watch around, you want to press on the glass with your thumb, and this will stick the magnet onto your finger. All right, so you have the watch right there. You will place the watch at the spectator's own hand and hover your hand above the watch, concentrate for a moment, and then tell the spectator, turn the watch around, and he's going to turn the watch around and see that the watch works normally. You can use the business card stack as you hand out some cards and then leave the magnet on the business card. This is my personal favorite method for stopping a watch, and you will perform this when you are seated next to a table with people seated next to you. You will borrow a watch from a spectator, and then you will show that the watch is working normally, and then you will simply place the watch on the table and hover your hand above the watch, and you concentrate for a moment and then make the watch stop. You can see that the watch does not work. You can actually see this right there, that the watch is not working. You can display the watch around, so people around you, the watch is not working. So you will then place the watch on the table again and then make the watch work again, and you can see now that the watch is ticking normally. All you have to do to make this watch stop is place it on the table, and as you place the watch on the table, you can see that the watch has stopped. Then you can immediately lift the watch to show the dead watch around, and then when you place the watch on the table again, the watch will work again. And this is the beauty of this method. The way this works is very simple. You have the magnet, you load the magnet at the far side of the watch right there. So the way you want to place the watch on the table is you bring the watch to the table, and as soon as the watch touches the table, you will continue the motion and slide the watch a little forward, and this will cause the magnet to move to hot zone. And the reason this happens is because once the blue tack is touching the table, it creates friction, and when you slide the watch forward, it will keep the magnet in place while the watch is moving. So the magnet is going to move from cold zone to hot zone by simply sliding the watch on the table. And as soon as the watch touches the table, the watch still works, and when you slide the watch a little forward, this will cause the watch to stop. You will simply place the watch on the table and hover your hand above the watch, and you concentrate for a moment and then make the watch stop. The action of placing the watch on the table and then moving the hand above the watch, as you hover the hand over the watch, you shouldn't rush it. Just be very relaxed as you do this. People are not going to notice that the watch stops at the moment that you place the watch on the table and hover your hand above the watch, and you concentrate for a moment and then bring the spectator's attention that the watch has indeed stopped. So you can pick up the watch, show the dead watch around, and now the magnet is at the hot zone. You will again place the watch on the table, and as soon as the watch touches the table, you will move the watch forward to cause the watch to work, because now the magnet moves from hot to cold zone. So the first time you place the watch on the table, the magnet is at the cold zone at the far side. You will slide the watch on the table so that the watch now stops, and you have the magnet at the hot zone. And the second time, when you place the watch on the table, it will move down to cold zone at the bottom of the watch. To make sure that the magnet does not stick to the table when you place the watch down is to moisture the blue tack. So what you're going to do, you're going to lick the fingertip of the right hand, and then you will steal the magnet so that the magnet is now at the center over this crease right there, and the tip of the finger is going to be wet. You're going to take the watch from the spectator, load the magnet as before, and then after you load the magnet, you will simply touch the magnet with your finger. And this way, every time you place the magnet on the table, the magnet is going to come along with the watch when you pick it up. When you are done performing the second phase of the routine, after you made the watch work again, you will end up with the magnet at the near side. So you will pick up the watch and you will use the right index finger to slide the magnet along the strap as explained, and you will do this as you turn the watch over for a brief moment, and then you will hand the watch back to the spectator and you are left with the magnet at the index finger. Now I personally actually prefer to steal the magnet with the middle finger, because this way I have the index finger free. You will simply perform this entire routine with the watch facing away from you so that the short strap is pointing towards yourself. This way, after you have done performing the second phase of the routine, the magnet will end up at the near side next to the short strap of the watch. So you will pick up the watch with the right hand holding the short strap like this, and you will rotate the watch first and then use the middle finger to steal the magnet as explained. So this way you end up with the magnet at the middle fingertip instead of the index fingertip. When you place the watch on the table and then come with the other hand to cover the watch from above, be relaxed when you do so, act natural, don't make a big deal about it, don't rush it, be calm, and no one will ever suspect anything. You can also place the watch on the table without stopping the watch. You will simply place the watch on the table, and as you can see, the watch still runs normally. The difference is when you want to cause the watch to stop as you place it on the table. As explained before, you have to slide the watch forward after the magnet touches the table. Here what I'm doing is simply placing the watch on the table without sliding it, so now the watch works. So all I have to do is simply move the watch forwards just a little bit to make the watch stop, and if I move the watch backwards, the watch will continue ticking normally. So I will show the watch that the watch works, and when I want to make the watch stop, I will simply cover the watch, and at the same time I'm adjusting the watch so that the watch now has stopped. You will use the same technique to make the watch stop and then to make the watch work. Now you can also pretend to stop it and only stop it at the same second when you are exposing the watch to show the watch to the spectators. And what you will do, you will show that the watch works, you will cover the watch without adjusting the watch, you will concentrate on the watch to make it stop and then take a peek at the watch. Now as you can see, the watch still works, but when I take the peek, I take a quick peek like this and say, oh, check this out, the watch has stopped. So what I did here, I actually stopped the watch when I'm showing you the watch. So the watch is right here, the watch is working, I cover the watch, I pretend to concentrate for a moment and then adjust the watch as you uncover the watch to show that the watch stopped. You can do the same thing to make the watch work. You simply cover the watch and then adjust the watch as you uncover the watch to show that the watch works again. After you have done performing, you will end up with the magnet at the far side, and all you have to do now is to pick up the watch so that the right hand is holding the short strap like this, and then as you show and display the watch, you will use the middle finger of the right hand to steal the magnet as you turn the watch briefly around and hand the watch to the spectator, and you are going to be left with the magnet at the middle finger. And you will then simply get rid of the magnet. So basically you can use the friction slide on the table either by stopping the watch as you place the watch on the table, stop the watch as you adjust it as you cover the watch, or cover the watch, pretend to stop it, and only stop it at the same second when you are exposing the watch to show the watch to the spectators. Now, as explained, to make sure that the magnet does not stick on the table, you want to moisture the blue tack with your finger that you will lick beforehand. But if for some reason the magnet on the watch is actually stuck to the table, so you can also unstick the magnet in the following way. Here you have the magnet stuck to the table. So what you will do, you will come with the index finger and thumb and touch the two sides of the strap right there, and with the other fingers you are going to grab the other strap and then slide the watch out of the right hand. The two fingers right here are a guide to make sure that the watch does not move off position and exposes the magnet as you pull the watch out. So again, you have the magnet stuck on the table right there. You will place the two fingers and then slide the watch out and then pick up the watch with the magnet, and if you want, you can actually turn the watch around still on the table and then hand the watch back to the spectator, and you are going to be left with the magnet on a finger palm. And if you have used a business card to cover the watch when you performed, you can actually use the business card stack to unload the magnet right there as you hand out some cards to the spectators. You can load the magnets onto the watch before you are going to actually perform the watch stopping routine. You can now do some other routines. Nothing will look suspicious. Your hands are clean, the watch is working normally, and no one will ever suspect anything. And then when you are ready to perform, you will simply go into the watch stopping routine with the magnet already loaded onto the watch long time before. A watch with high clips on the side are not good for the table slide method simply because the magnet and blue tack will not reach the table, and therefore there will be no friction with the table, and you won't be able to move the magnet from hot to cold zone or cold zone to hot zone. So you will have to use another method for this type of watch. The examination of the watch while you talk to the audience will take you a brief moment. When you take the watch from the spectator, just take a look and that's it. Steve, can I borrow your watch, please? Thank you. All right, I'm going to place the watch right here. And in a moment, I'm going to conduct an experiment with this watch. Sandy, can you confirm that the watch is working?
Yeah, it's working.
It's working. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the glass and place it on top of the watch to isolate the watch under the glass so that everything is under test conditions. Can you please do this?
Sure.
All right, perfect. If you don't mind, can you place your finger right there on top?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to concentrate on the watch. Now remember, the watch is under the glass and isolated from the surrounding, yes?
Yes.
And 3, 2, 1, stop. Can you remove the finger? Check this out.
Is so cool. It's not working.
The watch is dead. Look at this.
The watch is dead, yes.
The watch is dead, yes?
Yes.
Can you place your finger on top of this one more time? And concentrate again on the watch. And 3, 2, 1, go. Can you remove the glass? And check this out now.
And now it's working.
It's working, yes?
It's working, yes.
You can also execute the friction slide move using a glass, which hides a watch underneath it. You will stop the watch by simply moving the glass forward, and this will cause the watch to slide along with the glass and cause the watch to stop. To make the watch start again, all you have to do is slide the glass backwards, and this will cause the watch to slide along and cause the watch to start again. When you move the glass, once the rim of the glass is touching the rim of the watch case, it will cause the watch to slide. Using a glass for a watch stopping routine makes the effect look much bigger, and the fact that the watch is isolated under the glass and everyone can see the watch through the glass makes the effect more believable and under test conditions. You need a glass for this routine. I like to use a wine glass for this, and it's best to use a glass that has a narrow rim that is not much bigger than a common watch. In the presentation video, you can probably see that the watch has stopped before I say that it has stopped. In real life performance, if you apply the right misdirection, no one will ever notice this. But if you do feel uncomfortable to perform in such a bold way, you can always use another type of glass or cup. For example, you can use a coffee mug for this, and this way no one will ever see through the glass and will not notice that the watch has stopped before you say that it has stopped. Or you can use a see-through glass, such as a whiskey glass that has the core engraving in it. And this way the optical distortion will camouflage that the watch has stopped because no one can ever follow the second hand in the watch. So it's up to you how you want to perform this. I like to perform this with a wine glass simply because the wine glass is much bigger than the rest of the glasses, but you can use any type of glass for this. In a performance, what you will do, you will borrow a watch from the spectator, place the watch on the table without stopping it. You will bring everyone's attention to the ticking hand in the watch, but you don't want to reveal just yet that you are about to stop the watch. You want this to be a surprise for later. Then what you want to do is ask a spectator to cover the watch with the glass and explain that you are about to conduct an experiment with the watch and you want the watch to be isolated under the glass so that everything is under test conditions. Then what you want to do is grab the glass from the top as you show and say to the spectator, can you please place your finger right here and hold the glass in place? And as you show to the spectator what to do, you will also slide the glass forward just a little, causing the watch underneath to stop. Immediately, bring both your hands near the glass and pretend to concentrate from a distance. The hands will block the view of the side of the glass so that the spectator cannot see through the glass that the watch is dead. They can see the watch, but they won't be able to see the second hand. And the watch will also be concealed from the top part of the glass. No one can see the second hand because of the optical distortion, because of the thickness and shape of the glass. After a few moments, remove the hands and slowly lift the glass to show that the watch is dead. To make the watch work again, all you have to do is repeat the same process, but this time you will slide the glass backwards instead of forward to make the watch start again. You can also do the friction slide method using your palm instead of using the table. What you need for this is two magnets stuck together so that there is double the height. And then what you want to do is unload the magnet onto the watch at the far side and then rotate the watch around. So you have the magnet right here. You will place the watch on your open palm and then drag everybody's attention to the ticking watch. And as you point, you also press down to make sure that the magnet is sticking to your palm right there. To make the watch stop, you can simply adjust the watch like this to make it stop and like this to make it work again. Or you can actually use the thumb to push the watch. As soon as you come with the other hand to cover the watch, you will do this move and make the watch stop. This is a very quick move that no one will ever see or suspect that you did something. To make the watch work again, you will come with the same hand that you are going to use to hover over the watch. You will simply adjust the watch and then hover. And then later show that the watch now works normally. And what you can do now is one of two things. You can simply lift the watch to hand the watch back to the spectator and the magnet is going to be left stuck on your palm. Or if you prefer, you can actually scoop the watch with the magnets and run the magnet along the strap as you give it back to the spectator. The inspiration for the idea of the friction slide, where you place the watch on the table and make it stop on the table, came to me from another idea that I had using a coaster. What I did here is I implanted a magnet inside the coaster. This is where the magnet is. And what it allows you to do is stop the watch using the coaster without an external magnet. All you have to do is place the watch on the coaster like this. So the magnet is right here. And all I have to do to make it stop is move the watch forward and the watch would stop. And when I move the watch backwards, the watch would continue to work. And of course, I would do this when I'm placing something else to cover the watch or use my hand to hover over the watch. I would simply adjust the watch by moving it into the hot zone position. And this is something I would do when I was going out with friends, and if I sit in the pub and I would go to the bar, bring some drinks and use one of my coasters under my own drink. And when I come back to the table, I have my own drink over my coaster, and I will not do anything with that coaster only after later that night. So I would do some other routines before, and at one point when I'm going to go into the watch stopping routine, and then I would remove the coaster from under my drink and place it on to make sure that I don't wet the watch that I'm borrowing, and then place the watch on top of my coaster. And this looks very innocent. Nobody would ever suspect anything. If you decide to perform a watch stopping routine with multiple watches as part of your regular repertoire, both in close-up or stage, what you can do is prepare yourself a magnet pad like this one right here. By using a magnet pad, it eliminates the need to load and ditch the magnets on and off each of the watches that you borrow from the spectator, and you can handle the watches freely before and after the demonstration. Here I made a simple magnet pad with hidden magnets, which I sellotaped on a cardboard square. And what you will do is hide the pad under the tablecloth where you are going to perform. You can also prepare a magnet pad in a tray, which you will also use to collect the watches from the audience. And you will keep the watches on the tray as you stop each one of the watches. Or if you want, you can actually implant the magnets directly into the table. Borrow a few watches and place them on the table, positioning them over the magnets, each watch ready in a cold zone position. In a performance, you can use the table slide method to stop each one of the watches. You can stop one after the other, either by placing the watch directly onto the magnet to make it stop immediately when you place them on the table, or use the later stop or after stop as explained under the friction slide method. When you are done with the routine, what's great about the magnet pad is that you can simply pick up the watches and hand them back to the spectators without the need to get rid of any magnets. It's important to emphasize that a magnet pad is a great tool for close-up and stage performances, but is not suitable for walk-around and impromptu presentations. It's important that you learn the exact location of each hidden magnet so that you can place the watches on the table without having to look for the magnets as you place them down. Sir, can I borrow your watch, please? Yes, thank you so much. Okay, and I just want to confirm, Sandy, is this watch working?
Yes, it's working.
It is working, yes?
Yes.
You can see that the watch is working right there at the camera as well. And in a moment, Sandy, what I'm going to ask you to do is hold the watch in your open palm and then cover the watch with the other hand. So can you open your palm right there? And to confirm one more time, is this watch working?
Yeah, it's
it is working. Steve, is this watch working? Yes. And Guy, is this watch working? Perfect. Now I'm going to ask you to cover the watch with the other hand right there. And I want you to imagine the ticking second hand, okay? So in your mind, tick, tock, tick, stop. Can you lift this hand, please, and look at the watch?
Wow, it stopped working.
Check this out.
Wow.
You can actually see that the watch is not working. Can you confirm that it is actually stopped right there?
Right.
You can actually see that the watch is not working. Steve, look, the watch is not working. Now I'm going to show it to the camera as well right there. You can see that the watch is really dead. Now, by the way, you can see that the knob there is not pulled out. Can you touch the knob?
Sure.
Yes, the knob is really in there. Yes?
It's in there.
Can you open your palm again, please?
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to show the watch one more time. Can you see that the watch is stopped?
Yeah.
Yeah, the watch does not work. Okay?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you to place the other hand on top of this watch right there, and I'm going to ask you to think of the second hand one more time. Okay. The second hand is dead. And in 3, 2, 1, go. Can you lift the hands and turn the watch around
It's working. Wow, it started.
Check this out.
Wow.
I'm going to show it to the camera. You can see now that the watch is working again. The index finger slide is a very simple move. All you do is really push the magnet using the index finger. You want to hold the watch from both sides at the bands, and what you will do is stretch out your index finger to push the magnet from cold zone to hot zone. And this will cause the watch to stop. When you are performing this routine, what you are going to do is take a watch from a spectator, load the magnet as explained under the number 12, and then rotate the watch around so that the numbers of the watch face the spectator. You want to make sure that after the rotation of the watch that you hold the watch from both bands close to the watch case and not too far away from it. The reason you want the hands closer to the watch case and not too far from it is that when you are about to place the watch on your open left palm, you don't want to, by mistake, cause the watch to move down so that the magnet can be then exposed. Now place the watch on your left open palm. You want to hold the palm a little curled. What you are doing is creating a space between the center of the palm and the magnet. After you place the watch on your left hand, you want to instruct the spectator to do the same. You will say to the spectator, open your palm like this, and in a moment I will ask you to hold the watch and then use the other hand to cover the watch from above. When you are done talking, you will lift the watch with the right hand, holding it at the short band, index finger within reach to the magnet, and you want to hold the other band with the left hand as you lift the watch. Display the watch around, and what you want to do is move away from the spectator in an arc motion with the watch as you show it, and then you will show the watch to a spectator as you say to him, "Can you see the second hand ticking?" And he will reply, "Yes, I do." Then you will move further away to another spectator and you will ask him the same question, "Can you see the second hand ticking?" And he will say, "Yes." Then what you want to do is move back towards the spectator with the watch and then place the watch into the spectator's open palm. During the motion of the watch towards the spectator, what you want to do is slide the magnet into the hot zone, and you will push the magnet with the index finger in a fast motion as you stretch the finger and then curl the finger right back. Now you want to place the watch into the spectator's open palm, but just before you are about to place it into his palm, you want to rotate the watch at the same time. Now the rotation of the watch will hide the index finger movement even more. Once you place the watch in the spectator's hand, immediately ask the spectator to cover the watch with his other hand. Now you want to take his hand and cover the watch with it. This will drag attention to the spectator and the movement of the hand, and no one will ever notice that the watch is already stopped. Just be relaxed when you do so. People cannot follow the second hand when the entire watch is in motion. It takes a moment to find the hand when you are looking for it, so no one will at this point ever see that the watch has stopped. And because you never said that you are going to stop the watch, no one will ever even think that. At this point, they are just curious what you are about to perform with the watch. Hover your hand over the spectator's hands and pretend to concentrate on the watch. After a few moments, ask the spectator to uncover the watch. Point at the watch as you say, "Look, the watch has stopped," and the spectator will confirm that it has stopped. Then immediately take the watch from the spectator's hand and hold it with both bands and immediately place it on your right palm so that the magnet is over the center joint of the middle finger. What you are doing here is you don't give the spectator who held the watch a chance to lift the watch and maybe examine the watch. And what you are going to do is display the dead watch around as you knock on the glass with the left hand knuckles as you say, look, the watch is dead. As I'm knocking on the glass, I'm also pushing on the glass to cause the blue tack and magnet to stick onto the middle finger near the crease of the first and second joint. Immediately continue as you say, the crown is closed as you can see. You will push it with your left thumb to show that it is closed, and you will repeat again, the watch is dead, and you are done with the first part of the routine. Now we are going to make the watch work again. So what you want to do is tell the spectator to open his palm again, just like before, then lift the watch from your right palm with your left hand, holding the outer short band near the end of the band. You will lift the watch and slide your right fingers along the opposite band. And what you want to do is make sure that the magnet remains concealed under the band as you slide it along. You will immediately turn the watch around face down and then place it into the spectator's open palm. So now you are placing the watch face down in his palm. The magnet will remain stuck onto your middle finger, and the watch in the spectator's hand is now actually working again, but they don't know that yet. You will ask the spectator to cover the watch with his other hand, just like before. Pretend to concentrate again, and then let the spectator uncover the watch and turn the watch around himself and see and confirm that it works again. The routine ended completely clean in the spectator's hand. Everybody's attention is on the spectator and the watch he is holding. You will have all the time to get rid of the magnet. If you look at the watch right there, you can see that the watch is working, and I'm going to try to stop this watch and stop. You can see that the watch is now dead. It does not work. What I do here is use another finger slide method. This time I'm holding the watch hanging in front of the spectators with one hand. Here you will load the magnet under number 12 as explained, and you will grab the watch at the shorter band with the left hand. And you want to make sure that you can reach the magnet with either the pinky or the ring finger. Hold the watch hanging, displaying the watch to the audience, and bring your left open palm to block the view of the watch as if you are channeling energy into the watch. And while the hand moves up to block the view, you will also move the magnet into hot zone with your pinky or ring finger simultaneously. The big movement of the empty hand is going to cover the small movement of the ring finger pushing the magnet into hot zone. Bring your left open palm to block the view of the watch, and in a continuous motion, start waving the open hand around while you are pretending to concentrate on the watch. Remove the blocking hand to reveal the watch again. Look at the watch for a moment and be very excited as you say, the watch has stopped. You will show the stopped watch around, but you want to be careful not to expose the magnet at the back. To make the watch work again, all you have to do is block the view of the watch as you pretend to channel energy to the watch, and while the hand moves up to block the view, use the ring finger to slide the magnet, this time in reverse from hot to cold zone and in a continuous motion all the way up the band. And you will do this while the hand moves up. Start waving the open hand around while you are pretending to concentrate on the watch. Remove the blocking hand to reveal the watch again and show that the watch is working again. At this point, you will have the magnet attached to your fingertip. You can freely show the watch front and back and hand the watch back to its owner. You can perform the hanging finger slide either by holding the watch with your right or left hand. Depends on the situation you are in. Hold it the way you feel more comfortable with. I like to hold the watch in my left hand when I perform this, because this way the crown of the watch is facing away from me towards the audience. It's important that when you are performing this method, that there are no people behind you. It's a great frontal display of the watch. It's great for a video shoot or social media or Zoom performances. But if you are performing this live, just make sure that there are no people behind you. The strap steal is a very cool way to steal the magnet from the back of the watch. And the way to do this is as follows. You use the strap to steal the magnet by folding the strap over, pressing on the strap, and then when you unfold, the magnet is now sticking onto the strap. You can steal the magnet from the strap, from both ends of the watch. What you'll do is always use the opposite strap of where the magnet is. So if the magnet is at the left side right there, you will use the long strap to steal the magnet, and if the magnet is at the opposite side, you will use the short strap to steal the magnet. When you steal the magnet with the strap, you will now need to turn the magnet around so that you can stick it to your finger and steal it away from the watch. And the way to do this is as follows. What you will do, you have the middle finger on top of the magnet and the index finger touching the beginning of the magnet. And what I'm doing, I'm bending the strap this way. And what it does, it unsticks part of the magnet from the strap, and I will use the index finger simply turning the magnet around and then stick the finger on top of the magnet. One more time. So you have the magnet right here, and in real speed this is going to look like this. So you have the magnet right there, and then get rid of the magnet. You can also steal the magnet with the magnet at the hot zone. You will simply do the same exact thing. Silicone straps are too risky to do the strap steal because blue tack does not stick well on silicone. You can use the watch steal method for a full watch stopping routine, and this is how you will perform this. Sir, in a moment I'm going to try to stop this watch using my mind, and I want everything to be as fair as possible and under test conditions. So what I want you to make sure the entire time that I'm not going to touch the crown at any point. Can you confirm that the watch works? Yes, it works. Okay, so I'm going to try to stop this watch, and I want you to imagine in your mind the ticking second hand, and 3, 2, 1, stop. And if you look right here, you can see now that the watch has indeed stopped working. You can see this right there, that the watch does not work. Now, I want you to check the knob right there, that the knob is pushed in. I never touched the knob. So let me try to make the watch work again. Think of the second hand, and then 3, 2, 1, go. Let's see. And yes, the watch works again. You can see that the watch works again. You can see this at the camera, that the watch is working normally, and of course you can then hand the watch back to the spectator. When I use the watch steal method for a full watch stopping routine, I'm actually using 2 magnets instead of 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the one magnet on top of the other, just to give the magnet double strength. And the reason I'm doing this is because when you are going to borrow a watch from a spectator, the watch is going to have a curled band right there. Now, one of the things I always do when I borrow the watch, I will simply straighten the band as much as possible, but I want to make sure that the magnet can actually stop the watch when you use the watch steal method. So if you look right here, I'm going to place a single magnet at the back right there, and if I steal the magnet, you can steal the magnet no problem, but when I try to stop the watch, you can see now that the magnet does not come in contact with the back of the watch, and this is because the strap of the watch is a little curled, and this is something that happens after you use the watch. So this is the reason I'm actually using 2 magnets instead of 1. By using the double magnet, I actually have a much stronger magnetic field, and this way the watch will stop even though the magnet does not fully touch the watch. So you will do everything as explained earlier. You will have the magnet in finger palm. Here I'm using 2 magnets instead of 1. You will borrow the watch from the spectator, load the magnet onto the watch. And what I'm doing here, I'm actually loading the magnet directly onto the hot zone of the watch. So I'm loading the magnet, and then immediately I'm going to use the middle finger of the left hand to fold the long band and then hold the watch with these 2 fingers, the thumb and index finger, as I turn the watch over. And at the same action of turning the watch over, I'm also pressing the fingers to make sure that the magnet sticks to the back of the strap. So again, I'm going to load the magnet at the back of the watch, immediately fold the strap backwards as I turn the watch over and press on the magnet with the fingers, and then come into this position. And I will tell the spectator in a moment I'm going to try to stop this watch, and just to make sure that everything is under test conditions, I'm not going to come close to the knob of the watch, and then I will unfold the watch this way, and I will tell the spectator, can you confirm that the knob is in? Yes. And can you confirm that the watch is working? Yes. And then I will fold the watch backwards the same way and grab the straps with the right fingers, and again come with the left hand under the watch like this. I will pretend to stop this watch and then grab the bands with the left fingers to turn the watch over. I will then point with the right fingers towards the watch as I say, look, the watch has stopped. And then what I'll do, I will grab the watch straps with the right fingers again to turn the watch over, bring the other hand underneath the watch to channel energy into the watch, and I will make the watch work again, and then I will simply unfold the 2 straps. So from this position, I'm going to come with the left fingers to unfold the straps again. What I'm doing is first move the fingers a little forward and only then unfold the watch. And the reason I'm doing this is that so that I can later easily steal the magnet from the back. So I am unfolding the watch to show that the watch is working again. I will then turn the watch over to show the backside for a brief moment, and then as I come back, I will steal the magnet and give the watch back to the spectator, and I'm done with the routine, and I have the 2 magnets right here at the finger palm. All right, let me do this one more time. This time I will not talk, I will just do the entire sequence of the moves that I'm doing. The following method is an impromptu method when you don't have any magnets on you. You have the watch right here, and you will place the watch at the spectator's hand or at your own hand and snap your finger, and when you turn the watch around, you can see that the watch now has stopped. You can show now that the watch has stopped. You can place it on your right palm, close your hand again, snap your finger, and when you open the hand, the watch has started working again. Now, this is something that you can only do with a quartz watch. You cannot do this with a mechanical watch. As explained at the beginning, using a mechanical watch, when you pull the knob out, it will not stop the second hand. With a quartz watch, it actually does stop the second hand. So what I'm actually doing is simply pulling the knob out secretly during a performance. So the way to do this is like this. What you will do, you will place the watch over the right open palm. You want to position it so that the crown is near the bottom crease of the middle finger right here. And what I'm doing, I'm going to place the thumb over the watch and turn the watch over, but at the same time, I'm going to bend the middle finger backwards and then pull the knob out at the same time. But I need the thumb on top to make sure that the watch does not move. I'm going to show to you on the back side. This is how you do this. You will simply bend the finger, tuck the nail of the middle finger inside the gap between the crown and the watch case, and then pull out. So again, you will simply do this move, and now you can see that the watch has stopped. So here you can see the watch working, and this is how fast it's done. So you simply hold the watch, show that the watch works, ask someone to open the left palm, or if you want, you can use the table for this. You show the watch, place the watch on the table, and then when you turn the watch around, you can see now that the watch has stopped. And to cover that move of the middle finger, what you want to do is do an arc move as you turn the watch around. So you don't turn the watch around this way, you will turn the watch around in a big move. So you show the watch and then place it down, and you are done with the move. No one will ever catch you in action if you do this right. Now, to make the watch work again, all I did is place the watch on the open palm again, but this time I'm putting it at the center of the palm like this. And what I do, I close my hand into a fist, and this part right here, the heel of the thumb, is actually pushing the knob back in. When I do this, you can see now that the watch works. You can use the table to push the crown back in instead of placing the watch in a closed fist. So in the routine, what you will do the first phase of the routine, place the watch down, concentrate for a second, and make the watch stop. To push the crown back in, all you have to do is turn the watch around. So what you are doing is turning the watch over this way, but at the same time, what you want to do is push the crown against the table. So this is what you are going to do. You will push the crown against the table, and as you can see now, the watch already has started to work, and you will turn the watch around and concentrate for a moment, and then show that the watch started to work again. So let me show it to you one more time. You have the watch right there. The watch is stopped, and when you turn the watch over, the watch is working again. So this is a great way to start and stop a watch in an impromptu situation where you don't have the magnet with you. For this routine, I'm going to need 2 watches from 2 random spectators. The first spectator hands me her watch, and I'm going to ask for another watch from a second spectator. So the second spectator hands me her watch as well. And if you look at these 2 watches, you can see that both watches show the same time. And what I'm going to try to do is stop this watch right here. So I'm going to stop this watch, and I'm going to use the other watch to cover the first watch. Now you can see that the watch is working, and I'm going to cover the watch like this, and I'm going to try to cause that watch to stop. And if you look right here, you can see that the watch has now stopped, and you can see that the knob is pushed in, and the watch still does not work. You can actually show the watch around. You can let the spectator himself touch the knob and make sure that the knob is pushed in. Now what's really amazing is that the second watch right here is also stopped. So now both watches are dead. And I'm going to try to make these 2 watches work again. Now you can see that these 2 watches don't work, and I'm going to cover this watch one more time like this, and I'm going to make the watches work again, and as you can see now, both watches work again. Now immediately you can hand the watches back to the spectators. This routine is very powerful because everything in this routine looks open, fair, and innocent. I'm using a different method for stopping each of the two watches. For the watch on the table, I'm using the friction slide technique to stop it, and if I use a watch with a metal strap, I will use the chain slide for this, and with the other watch, I'm using the impromptu crown pull method. Have the magnet ready in a finger palm in your right hand, then borrow a watch from the spectator, and what you want to do is take that watch with your left hand. And then you will shift the watch to the right hand and load the magnet at the back and position the magnet at the cold zone at the far side of the watch. Now you will load the magnet as you ask to borrow another watch. And while the spectator is busy taking his watch off the wrist, you will load the magnet on to the first watch. After you load the magnet onto the first watch, you want to shift the watch back to the left hand and take the second watch from the spectator with the right hand. You want to make sure that you hold the watch in your right hand so that the watch is near your fingertips with the crown of the watch touching the middle crease of the middle finger. What you want to do next is display both watches, and you want to bring both of your palms close to the other so that the fingertips of both hands are touching. And you will display the watch side by side as you say. You can see that both watches work and show the same time. Next thing that you want to do is move the left hand with the watch forward and drag the attention of the spectators to the left watch. You will say, in a moment, I will try to stop this watch. And simultaneously, as you move the left hand forward, you will position the right thumb over the glass of the other watch, covering the crown with the thumb, then place the left watch on the table in front of you, and at the same time move the right hand back a bit, and while the left hand is in motion, you will also quickly curl the middle finger of the right hand, pulling the crown out with a fingernail, and you want to do this in a fast motion and immediately straighten your middle finger. You want to time the pull of the crown as the left hand places the left watch on the table, and you want to use the noise produced by the watch when it touches the table to camouflage the crown pull click noise when you pull the crown out. Now the attention will be on the watch that you place on the table, and the crown pull will be invisible. After you have placed the watch on the table, you want to bring the left hand backwards to grab the strap of the right hand watch, and you will pull the watch out of your right hand. Now immediately turn the watch around in a continuous motion and bring the watch towards the first watch to cover the watch on the table. When you are about to cover the watch on the table, hesitate for a moment and then move the face down watch away a bit to uncover the watch on the table. Point on the watch with the right index finger and say, you can see that the watch still works. Take a moment to let them see that the watch actually works, and then turn the watch in your hand over for just a brief moment to briefly show the face of the watch, and immediately place the watch glass on glass over the watch on the table. Now the brief exposing of the watch adds the feel of fairness, but will not give them the chance to see that the top watch is motionless. At this point, they are focused on the watch on the table, and they don't expect that you will stop the top watch as well. And then what you want to do is adjust the bottom watch, executing the friction slide to cause that watch to stop by making the magnet move to hot zone. And the adjustment of the watches will not drag any unwanted heat. No one knows or suspects anything at this point. Everything looks very fair and very open. You have just covered the watch with the other watch, and the small adjustment of the watch will fly by without them ever thinking or suspecting anything. Next thing that you want to do is hover your right hand over the watch and take your time to concentrate. If you want, you can also have a few spectators hover their hands over the watch together to form a circle of energy and ask the spectator to call stop together whenever they want. Then what you will do, you will remove the top watch and place it on the table while it's still face down, and immediately drag the attention to the face up watch as you say, look, the watch has stopped. Wait for a moment and then touch the crown as you say, and you can see that the crown is not pulled out. I have not touched the crown. I actually prefer to lift the watch off the table by the straps and let the spectator touch the crown, but it's up to you if you want to do this. If you have lifted the watch, place the watch back on the table and then slowly turn the other watch face up and say, look, the other watch has stopped as well. At this point, what I like to do is tap on the glass of both watches while I say, look, both watches are dead. Now, the next thing that you want to do is pick up the second watch with the right hand at the straps with the crown pointing outwards, and then hold the watch near the watch on the table as you come to cover that watch again, and then you will turn the watch around to cover the first watch and push the crown back in using the glass of the first watch on the table. The clinging noise of the watch touching the glass of the other watch will camouflage the clicking noise of the crown as it's pushed in. Now immediately adjust the bottom watch again, sliding the magnet back to cold zone to make it work again. Hover your hand over the watches and then remove the top watch and turn it around, placing it near the other watch and show that both watches work again. Wait for a moment and then pick up the watch with the hidden magnet using the right hand and position the watch so that the magnet is over the center joint of the middle finger. Now you will use the right thumb to press on the glass to cause the magnet to stick onto your finger, and you will do this at the same time as you reach out with your left hand to pick up the other ungimmicked watch. And display both watches side by side just like you have done at the beginning of the routine, where the fingers of both hands are touching and you will show that both watches work. Then what you want to do is hand out both watches back to the spectators, and at the same time you will steal the magnet by simply curling the middle finger so that the magnet goes away from the watch, and then you can freely hand out the watch and then ditch the magnet using your favorite holder. You want to practice the moves until they become second nature to you. You want the moves to become part of your muscle memory, and the result will be a super strong routine that will have a very strong impact on your audience. The psychology behind this effect is that by using a different method for each of the watches, it hides the method of the other watch, so that the spectator cannot reconstruct the secret in his head later on. After I stop the first watch on the table, I show that the crown is not touched and is not pulled out. And I do this to hide the fact that I'm actually pulling out the crown on the second watch when I use the crown pull method to stop the watch, so that the spectators, when they think about it later on, they will remember that I specifically showed them that the crown was not pulled out. And by handling the second watch, which I place face down on top of the first watch, this handling of the watch, by showing it from both sides during the performance, the spectator can see there is no gimmick or magnets attached to the watch. They will remember that they have seen the watch from front and back, and it was just a regular, normal watch. So each of the methods that I'm using for each watch is basically hiding the secret of the method that I'm using on the opposite watch. Sir, can I borrow your watch, please? Thank you so much. And I'm going to try to do something with this watch. I don't know if you know, but when you pull the knob out so that you can set the time of the watch, it also causes the second hand of the watch to stop. Can you see that the second hand of the watch does not work, yes?
Yeah.
Now when I press the knob back in, look what happens. The second hand continues working.
Right.
Sandy, can you try it yourself?
Sure.
Pull the knob out, and as you can see, the watch has stopped again. And when you push it back in, it causes the second hand to start working again. Now, I'm going to write a prediction, okay? So, I'm going to write something down here, yes?
Okay.
And I don't want you to look. So, can you please turn away so that you don't see what I'm going to draw right here. And all right, so I made my prediction, all right? And I'm going to actually place the prediction right here so you can all see the prediction, and I'm going to try something with this watch. Okay? Now check this out. What I'm going to try to do with this watch is as follows. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to pull out the knob whenever you want to. Yes?
Okay.
Now you can see that the watch is working right there.
Yeah.
And you can do this really whenever you want. Okay? So it's up to you. I'm going to ask you to wait, and whenever you feel like, simply
I feel
pull
like
the
now.
knob. All right?
Like now. Okay.
Perfect. Are you happy with your choice?
Yes.
If you're not, you can push the knob back in,
No, I'm
wait
happy.
some more, and then
No,
pull out the knob.
I'm very happy.
Are you sure?
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to check this out. Now you can see the watch right there, yes? You have stopped the watch at
Yes.
with the second hand at the 11 o'clock, right there. This is my prediction, yes? Check this out. I'm going to place the prediction right there, and I'm going to show you something super cool.
Wow.
And you can see now that these two
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
match, right?
Sure.
Look at this, 11 o'clock
11 o'clock.
and 11 o'clock.
Wow.
Perfect?
Perfect.
And if you want, you can push this back in,
Okay.
and you can see
Wow,
now that
that
the
was-
watch
wow.
continues working. And of course, Steve, you can have your watch back. Here in this routine, I am predicting the number where the second hand points to after the spectator pulls the stem out and causes the watch to stop at a random hour. And this is a very strong routine. Here I'm using the hot zone, cold zone method to stop the watch, but the stopping of the watch is not part of the effect. It's actually the secret behind the effect, and the audience are never aware that you are stopping the watch at any time. Borrow a watch from the spectator and say, you can see that the watch is ticking, and when I pull out the stem, the watch will stop. You can see that the second hand of the watch has now stopped, and when I push the crown back in, the watch continues ticking normally. Here, you can try it yourself. Now pull the stem out, and you can see that the watch now has stopped. Now you will let the spectator pull the crown out himself, and then wait for a moment. Then let the spectator push the crown back in, as you say, and you can see now that the watch works again. Place the watch on the table, and as you place the watch, you want to notice the second hand where it points to, and you want to remember that number. Now, everything that you do from this point on in the routine should be timed to take 1 minute exactly, because you want the second hand to point to the same number after you are done with the performance, because this number is going to be your prediction. Place the watch on the table to your left side. Reach out with your right hand to grab the cardstock and hold it with the left hand, and you want to hold it with the cardstock facing downwards so that the back side of the stock is now exposed. Just do it very casually and then turn the stock around and remove the bottom card. Now the magnet will be exposed under the stock, but no one will know. Then place the stock on the table with the magnet concealed and against the table, and using the pen, you want to draw a simple clock on the back side of the card. What I do, I always draw a few lines to indicate the hours at the watch. I never write numbers, and I'm only writing the number that I remember when I place the watch on the table. And then I draw a single second-hand line pointing to that number. And what I like to do actually is to make the line point a few steps after the actual number so that it is not pointing to a round number. Then what you want to do is announce that you have made a prediction, but you don't want to show the prediction to anyone. Pick up the business card stack with the right hand and then stick the prediction card face down, sideways in between the card stack so that it is clear that this is the prediction card. Now, while you stick the card into the stack, you have enough time to stick the magnet onto your middle joint of the middle finger and stealing it off the stack. This, by the way, is the reason why I stick the prediction this way, because it takes longer than simply placing the card on the table. And it gives you enough time to secretly steal the magnet while you handle the card. Pick the watch up with the left hand and then shift it to the right hand while shifting the card stack to the left and then placing the stack on the table in front of you. Now you will end with the watch at the right hand and middle finger with the magnet hidden under the watch. Now, as you talk to your audience and explain what you are going to do, you will unload the magnet into the cold zone of the watch with the help of the left hand. Now, while you handle the watch, you want to notice the second hand has not reached the number that you remember in your mind, because at this point, the second hand should be close to that number. But if the second hand has actually passed that number that you remember, just continue talking a little bit and wait another round until the second hand comes close to that number again. Now prepare the left index finger and thumb in a pinch position, and you want the spectator to see the fingers, and this way you are actually showing them that they are empty without saying that they are empty. Time it so that as soon as the second hand reaches the number that you remember, you will grab the watch with the left fingers, thumb above the glass and index finger underneath the watch, and as soon as you grab the watch, you will also slide the magnet from cold to hot zone with the left index finger, and then immediately turn the watch face down with the left hand, holding it so that the magnet is fully concealed under the index finger. The watch will stop working at this point thanks to the magnet that you are holding over the hot zone. Now, if you have timed everything correctly, the watch has now stopped exactly on the number that you remember. Now, I like to hold the index finger a bit moved back, just a bit, so that it is a little far from the crown and some of the back cover of the watch can be seen. Now hold the watch towards the spectator and say, take your time, and whenever you feel, pull the crown out. Are you ready? Whenever you want. The spectator will pull the crown out, and after he does, ask him, are you happy with your choice? If you want, you can push the crown back in and let the watch tick some more and then pull the crown out again. It's your choice. Are you happy? Okay. Turn the watch over, face up again, and grab the watch from the outer strap with the right fingers. And what you want to do is slide the left index finger and thumb along the inner strap together with the magnet, and the magnet will now stick to the left index finger. Show the watch and then place the watch on the table, and as soon as the watch touches the table, you will reach out with your right hand to grab the card stack while the left hand still holds the inner strap. And then what you want to do is move the card stack over the watch and then grab it with the left hand. So the left hand lets go of the strap and grabs the card stack. Now the magnet will now stick to the magnet holder at the back side of the card stack, and with the right hand you will remove the prediction from the card and then place the prediction face down on the table next to the watch. Drag everybody's attention to the second hand on the watch and then turn the prediction over to show that both the prediction and the watch match exactly. Wait for a moment to let the moment sink in, to let everybody enjoy the moment, and then pick up the watch and then press the crown back in so that the watch works again, and then hand the watch back to your spectators, and you can hand him the prediction with your business card as well. For the next routine, you will borrow two watches from two random spectators, and if you look at the time on both watches, you can see that they are showing the same time, but if you are looking at the second hands, you can see that they are not ticking on the same numbers. In fact, the odds of finding two random watches that are perfectly synced by the second is only 1 in 60. You have a better chance to predict the right number in a roulette game than finding two watches that are ticking exactly on the same number. Now let me try to do something with both watches. I'm going to try to mentally sync both of them. Let me concentrate really hard here. You can see that I'm not touching the knob there. And now you can see that these two watches are ticking exactly on the same numbers. These two watches are perfectly synced. For this routine, you will borrow two watches from two random spectators, and most likely the watches are not going to be synced. Sometimes you will find two watches that are almost in sync, and if this happens, simply take another watch from another spectator because you want the two second hands to be completely different when they are ticking. You want these two second hands to be out of sync as much as possible. Now, to make this work, all you have to do is stop one watch. And the stopping of the watch here is not part of the effect. It's actually the secret behind the effect, and the spectators are never aware that you are stopping one watch. The method that I'm using to stop the watch here is something I call the top stop. Here I'm going to use the magnet and place it over the glass of the watch. And as you can see, it actually stops the watch by placing the magnet over the glass. So here I'm not loading the magnet onto the watch. I always have the magnet on my finger palm, and I will simply cover the watch with my hand as the magnet touches the glass of the watch. Now, as you can see, when I remove the magnet, the watch is going to continue ticking. If I place the magnet over the watch, it will stop the watch, and it will work basically with every kind of watch. You can see this watch right here. If I'm going to place the magnet on top, it will also stop the watch, and when I remove the magnet, the watch is going to continue ticking normally. So this is the top stop. You always want to stop the watch that goes faster than the other watch. In this case, this watch is running faster than this one. So I know that I have to stop this watch. And you also want to make sure that the watch that you are going to stop is always at the same side where you have the magnet. So here I have the magnet in a finger palm on my right hand. So I want the watch that I'm going to stop on my right. So if the watch that goes faster is on your left side, simply change the positions of the watches as you talk. So in a real performance, what you are going to do, you are going to wait for the second hand to reach a certain number that you will decide on. Let's say we are going to go for number 12, and as soon as the watch has reached the number 12, you are going to stop this watch by placing the magnet over the glass of the watch. And you are going to look now at the other watch and wait until this watch is reaching the number 12. And once it reaches the number 12, you will remove the magnet, and now these two watches are ticking in sync. Here I'm loading the magnet on my third finger instead of the middle finger, and the reason for this is because I can have the hand more natural. So this way, when I bend the third finger, my three other fingers are going to be empty, and this way it's going to be more natural for me when I have the magnet on my finger the entire time, because here I'm not loading the magnet onto the watch, I'm actually keeping the magnet on my finger the entire time. Another reason for this is because this way, when I cover the watch to place the magnet over the glass, this way the crown is going to be exposed the entire time so that the spectator can see that I'm never touching the crown. So when ready to perform, what I'm going to do, I'm going to first cover the watch that I'm not going to stop. I'm going to briefly show my hand empty, cover the watch with the left hand, and I want to make sure that the knob is always at full view. And I'm going to pretend to concentrate. Obviously, nothing can happen at this point because I'm not stopping that watch. After a few seconds, I will remove the hand to take a peek for a moment and then cover the watch once again. And I'm going to follow the second hand on the other watch. And I'm going to decide on a close number. So let's say I'm going to go for the number 5. I'm going to cover the watch with the right hand, placing the magnet over the glass, and I'm going to stop the watch at number 5. After a few seconds, I'm going to take a peek on the other watch just to see how close to number 5 it is. And I'm going to count a few seconds in my head until I know that the left hand watch has reached the right number that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to lift both hands a little bit upwards, just about a centimeter over the watches, so that the magnet does not stop the right watch, so that the second hands of both watches continue ticking forward. And I'm going to continue pretending to concentrate. And at one point, I'm going to remove both hands to show that these two watches are now in sync. Now, this is a very strong routine that you can perform with 2 borrowed watches. When performing watch stopping, don't sell it as a trick, because if you do, your spectators will try to figure out the secret and it downgrades the effect. Instead, sell it as the real thing, as if you are stopping that watch using mind power. This has so much greater impact on your audience. I try to sell them a miracle, and when they witness a miracle, they will believe in that miracle, they will think about it later on after the show and will talk about it. This is so much stronger this way. The way to deliver a miracle is by believing that miracle yourself. So when I'm stopping a watch, I don't pretend that I can stop that watch with my mind. I actually believe that I can stop that watch with my mind. And when I believe it, my audience will believe it too. So how do you make it look real? The first thing that you want to do is work on your gaze, the way you look at the watch when you try to make it stop, so that it looks like you're actually using your eyes and mind to make that watch stop. The way you hold your hand as you channel energy to the watch when you make it stop. You also want to stand or sit in a straight posture when you perform. You want to show confidence. You also don't want to rush it. Take your time when you are trying to stop the watch. You want your audience and spectators believe that stopping a watch with your mind is hard. And by taking your time, it adds mystery, it adds suspense, and adds credibility to the effect, making the effect so much stronger. This does not mean that I am serious or dark throughout my entire performance, not at all. I am actually very nice to the audience. I smile, I make jokes, but when I'm about to read their minds or bend a spoon, or in this case, stop a watch, I change from fun to very serious. This sudden change of character puts my audience on their toes and focuses them onto what I want them to be focused on. And this sudden change makes it look so much real, because now you're very serious when you are stopping that watch. So to sum up, what I'm trying to do is sell my audience the fact that what I'm doing is real, that I'm actually stopping that watch using mind power. I want them to believe that I have some kind of superhuman abilities, but I never actually lie about it when I'm asked about it. When somebody asks me, how do you do this? Is this superhuman? I say, no, it's not superhuman. I believe that anyone can do this. You can do this with the right training and 15 years of practice. The best way to practice watch stopping techniques and routines is to work with various types of watches. Get some old watches from friends and family, or buy used watches on eBay. You want to use every type of watch you can get your hands on. Get watches with open straps, bracelet straps, get watches with straps of various materials like leather, fake leather, silicone, metal, and so on. And get some watches in various sizes, large, medium, and small, so that you can practice with every kind of watch available out there. When you practice, you want the watches to be worn and not new. Just like in real life, when you borrow a watch from a spectator, that watch is going to be worn and used, so you want to practice with the same type of watches. For example, a worn leather strap will have a curved shape to it, while a new one comes flat. A silicone strap will keep the straight, flat form even after it has been worn for a long time. If you buy new watches for practice, get the cheapest watches you can find. Wear the watches for a while to cause the strap to have the natural curl shape to it, or you can wrap the watch around something, for example, a watch pillow. You want to keep this on the watch pillow for a while and it will get that shape if it is a leather or fake leather. When you want to borrow a watch from the spectators or multiple watches from a few spectators, the best way to look for the right watch is to tell your audience, anyone who has an analog watch, please raise your hands, and then you would go down to your audience, look for the right watch, and borrow the watch that you want to use. Always examine the watch you borrow before you start performing, so that you can find ahead of time if there is a reason not to use the watch you have borrowed, or if there is a reason not to use a specific watch stopping technique with the watch that you have borrowed. For example, a watch with high clips on the side are not good for the table slide method simply because the magnet and blue tack will not reach the table, and therefore there will be no friction with the table and you won't be able to move the magnet from hot to cold zone or cold zone to hot zone. So you will have to use another method for this type of watch. The examination of the watch while you talk to the audience will take you a brief moment. When you take the watch from the spectator, just take a look and that's it. Some watches have a large space between the strap and the watch case. So if you find a watch like this, you just need to know to be careful to not expose the magnet when you slide it over the edge, because the magnet might be seen between the strap and the case, so this is something you should be aware of. Silicone straps are too risky to do the strap steel because blue tack does not stick well on silicone. Some watches come with plastic curled bands like this one right here, and these watches are not good for most techniques that I'm teaching you here. You can use it for some techniques, but it's best to avoid these type of watches. It's best to perform with a watch that has a second hand in contrasting color. This will be easier to see by your spectators. Second hands with no contrasting color can be sometimes very hard to see. Some watches have a sub-dial second hand, like this one right here. It works fine, you can stop this watch, but it is a very small second hand that is hard to see, so you should take this in consideration. You can stop any watch in any size, small, medium or large. But it's always best to use a medium or large size watches. The larger the watch, the better it is for performance because there is more cold zone space at the back of the watch where you can load the magnet long time before you actually stop the watch in a performance. One of the things I like to do is when I concentrate on the watch and pretend to stop it, I take a peek as if to check if the watch has indeed stopped. And even though the watch has stopped, I will pretend that the watch didn't. Oh, not yet. Let me try a little harder. And yes, now you can see that the watch has stopped. You actually are not doing anything. You're just hovering your hand over the watch. And when you declare that the watch has not stopped, and then pretend to make it stop even though you did not do any special moves, this adds much more strength to the effect when you are performing watch stopping. You can do the same thing when you try to make the watch work again. You just pretend to concentrate on the watch, take a peek, you say not yet, let me try a little harder, 3, 2, 1, and okay, now you can see that the watch has actually started to work again. After I stop the watch, what I do is display the dead watch around very openly, just like I would handle a normal dead watch. I also like to tap on the glass of the watch when I show that the watch is dead. I like to say something like, look, the watch is dead, it does not work. You can use sound to elevate your performance. You can have a sensitive microphone near the watch that you are about to stop and amplify the ticking sounds produced by the watch so that the entire audience can hear the watch ticking. When you make the watch stop, the ticking sound will stop as well, and this will elevate the watch stopping routine to a whole new level. You can also cheat by having a recording of the ticking sound playing as you perform the routine. Just make sure that you time the watch stop with the stopping of the ticking sound at the background. If the blue tack on the magnet gets too hard and does not stick well on your finger, give it a few taps with your finger to make it soft again, or you can remove it and mix the blue tack a little bit until it gets soft and then reattach it to the magnet. After you do this, it will become sticky again. If the blue tack on the magnet is too dirty and does not stick well on the finger, peel it off and replace it with a new piece. After many uses of the magnet, the blue tack will flow over the edges to the other side of the magnet. This will cause the magnet to get sticky on the wrong side of the magnet. If this happens, remove it from the other side and just make sure the blue tack is only on one side of the magnet.
Oh my god!
Hello, I am Menny Lindenfeld and I proudly present to you the Ox Bender. Now here's what happens. A spectator takes out a coin, signs the coin, you then instruct the spectator to hold the coin in his hand like this, you do your thing, and when he opens the hand, the coin is bent. Now as you can see, I've bent this coin and I've done it in front of the camera using just one hand. This is how good the Ox Bender is. The Ox Bender is unlike any other coin bender ever made. It is the world's first single-handed coin bender. You will be able to bend signed borrowed coins using just one hand, while the other hand is free and open the entire time. The Ox Bender is fully angle proof, so you can perform and use it fully surrounded. The Ox Bender is designed to produce clean bends, so no scratch marks are left on the coin. You can also use the Ox Bender for bending, twisting or breaking borrowed keys, and for bending perfect neck twists in a signed spoon. The Ox Bender is a hassle-free, lightweight gimmick that you will easily carry around with you everywhere you go. When I approach metal bending, my goal is to create an astonishing moment. A visual miracle that happens right there in front of you. The first episode of Metalism, the self-bending paperclip, is one of my personal favorite metal bending effects. It's highly visual, takes only 30 seconds to prepare, there is no heating, no freezing, you have full control on the timing and shape of the bend. It packs small, plays big, and can be demonstrated almost anywhere.